With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. This room is usually empty, so it's nice to have company, no matter what the comments are. Actually, we've had a lot of great comments, so it's helpful. We have to start off with an annual organizational meeting. Congratulations to Bill Barber and Harry Crowley for winning the election.
Thank you.
Thank you. First, my appointment with Bill Barber as deputy mayor. Right, Bill, you were asked, I think. The next group of appointments I'm going to do as a group, so we'll have to listen to me read for half an hour. Let's see, village attorney Ian Golden, zoning board member Elliot Mizell, chairperson of the zoning board Elliot Mizell, vice chair of the zoning board Meredith Foster, alternate CGA member James Dobson, alternate zoning board member Henry Weisberg. Thanks for being here today, Henry. Architectural and Historic Review Board member Megan Ouderkirk, Architectural and Historic Review Board member Anthony Woods, chairperson of the AHRB Megan Ouderkirk, vice chair Anthony Woods, alternate AHRB member Irina Tolstoy-Gans, tree committee member Paul Brennan, and tree committee member Christina Martin. I make a motion to appoint those people as designated. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And the next group is, let's see, I want to make an omnibus resolution to adopt items numbers 3 through 14. All this stuff is in the agenda. Is there any dissent? As explanation, the only two things that have changed are the resolution of the village procurement policy, which has been updated to match the changes in the state.
Which number is
It's
that?
not necessarily to match the changing of the state bill, but what I did is I increased the amount where I have to get 3 verbal quotes from $1,500 to $2,000. So
So
instead
we're
of starting at
closer to
15,
matching the.
it's not, the state allows you to set those particular levels locally.
Right.
Where it kicks in with a sealed bid, it's 20,000 for, like supplies. And then anything involving public works is 35,000. So that's what our our purchasing policy addresses, those 3 verbals and then RFP from 5,000 up to the 20,000 or
So
5,000
it's
up.
inflation adjustment.
Gives me a little more leeway.
Right. And the other item would be a half-day extra off on Christmas Eve.
Correct.
Those are the 2 changes. Any discussion or dissent on this stuff? I'll make a motion to do it. Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the organizational meeting. On the second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. Land planning, the application of Captain Ross, 70 Old Farm Road. Making motions to adjourn that until the August 20th meeting. They did not complete the information, additional information that was required for that. Okay.
That was the landscaping and everything.
Yeah.
Right,
Got it,
yeah.
I agree.
Right, they're struggling with that. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Meadowmere, 3491 Montauk Highway. Make a resolution to grant an additional 90 days for the following final plat for the closed subdivision of 41 acres on Montauk Highway. The Schwink family is still negotiating with the town of Southampton to sell development rights. Do I get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Okay, final subdivision application of 351 Bridge Lane. Who would like to go first?
Just for the record, Bill, Rick Biscuit and John Target are on Zoom for the
Oh.
applicant as well.
Okay, great. Want to take Rich Warren first? Rich, would you like to take first shot at it?
Sure, happy to. So this is a final subdivision application for a 33.49 acre property south of Bridge Lane. Matter's been around before the village for at least 2.5 years or so, for the creation of 2 separate lots. It's a piece of property that has a fairly large Peconic land trust easement over it. And we spent a considerable amount of time back in the early steps of this to work out things like yield and building envelope locations with the surveyor. So what they're looking to do is looking to divide this property into 2 separate lots. The northerly lot is unimproved except for some accessory structures, ag buildings, 3 pickleball courts, some landscaping and agricultural uses. It's 17.75 acres in size, of which 13.2486 acres are currently restricted by the Peconic Land Trust easement. The second lot, which is the southerlymost lot, contains the residence on the property and some accessory structures. That's 15.7 acres in size. And that lot takes its access by way of a flag strip that's extending along the western side of the property up to Bridge Lane. The northerly lot has its frontage on Bridge Lane, but it will intend to use the driveway that exists right now that is within the flag strip on the southerly lot. We went through section 190-32 of the village code, which has the submission requirements for a final plat. And that's in my memo to you. As you go down through there, I'm not going to read them all, but as you go down through them, you'll see that the final plat requires a submission of an environmental assessment form part 1. That was not included in the application. The application requirements also state there should be either a letter from the planning board from the health department, or a stamped approved plan by the health department of the subdivision plat. That was not provided. Letters directed to the planning board by responsible official from the electric power agency and the water service agency. I don't know whether or not they were submitted or not to the village. That's something that the village clerk can advise you about. And letters from Cablevision, Suffolk County Water Authority, LIPA, again, they're required to be submitted. And then a letter directed to the planning board signed by the responsible official from the school district is also, and that's really just a notification that there's a subdivision occurring within the school district. So we don't have that as well. When you go back and you take a look at the pre-application report that was done on July 22nd, on pages 6 and 7 of that report, there were a number of items that that the trustees required when they adopted the report be addressed to the satisfaction before deeming the final plat complete. Some of them have been taken care of, but there are some that have not. There were some notations on the plan that had some existing trees to be removed. Since this is a final plat, it really doesn't include those kind of actions. That notation was removed. There's existing fencing on the property that extends beyond the property boundary line. And it's something that we've discussed with this, I believe it's this owner, but on this piece of property going all the way back to 2019, because I know that they were talking about some other things on this property. And there's fencing that extends onto the property immediately to the west. And there's also fencing that extends within the wetlands to the south. And we had suggested that that be resolved and removed so that we're not approving a map that has features that are on adjacent properties. There's an existing trampoline on the property that there was a notation said to be removed. The notation was removed, but the trampoline is still there. There was a recommendation that the building inspector look at to the satisfaction of the building inspector, the use of the 1-story frame building located within the reserved area. When you take a look at it on aerial photographs, It looks as though it's being used as an office of some sort. And there was a notation about a sanitary flag on the property. The map says that sanitary flag to be abandoned. We just wanted the building inspector to confirm the use of this building that's within the wetland setback. We asked for satisfaction from the village building inspector about the chicken coops. We learned, while we didn't have anything from the applicant, we did learn that the village has approved the keeping of chickens on the property, so that is not an issue with here. And we also suggested that the location of utilities within Bridge Lane be shown. They're now shown on the map, so that's good. The one thing that I did note when I looked at the plan that's submitted and I looked at aerial photography, the tennis court that is on the property that had previously been shown to be removed and is still shown to be removed on the plan is now consists of 3 pickleball courts. I asked the building inspector about that and he didn't have any information about it. So we just recommend that that be addressed in the application. So my recommendation is that there's information that's required to be submitted pursuant to section 190-32 of the village code for final plat that you do not have with this submission. I'd recommend that you deem it incomplete and that the applicant provide that information so we can continue on. The map itself seems to me, once these issues are resolved, it doesn't seem to me to be problematic because this is what you had approved in the pre-application report. But there are requirements for us to deal with it. We have to deal with secret. We can't do that without an EAF Part 1.
Board members have questions? Any questions? Applicant, let the applicant.
Kevin is on.
Oh, we set it up first?
Yep.
Okay. Kevin,
Yes.
go. Thank you, Rich.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Kevin Peterman from LKMA as the village engineer. I agree with Rich. I think, there are a few more things that need to be addressed on this before, we can recommend that the board consider this complete. A few things to discuss before I dive into a few specific comments. The current plans do not propose any land disturbance, grading changes, or modifications to existing drainage areas. Because of this, we don't anticipate any impact on the village's drainage patterns, and we don't recommend that a drainage plan be required at this time. Additionally, since there are no public improvements proposed as part of this application, we do not believe that bonding, such as performance or maintenance bonds, are necessary at this time. A few engineering comments. Number 1, just label the right-of-way width along Bridge Lane when the revised plans come in. That's a checklist item from Village Code. Number 2, provide utility adequacy letters from both Suffolk County Water and PSEG. Rich mentioned that already. 2 things that we picked up after we submitted our comment letter to the board. So I apologize. These 2 last comments here didn't make it into our written letter to you guys. But as far as the mapping requirements for this final map, the county clerk, when it gets filed at the county clerk, typically they require a maximum sheet size of 20 by 36. That is written in the village code as well. And so we would just ask the applicant to address that sheet size with their revised submission. And the last item I have on my list here is that the survey must be tied into the nearest established monument in the Suffolk County system, or 2 consecutive points on the survey shall have Suffolk County coordinates. And that's just to make sure that the survey is tied into the right datum and can be properly referenced in the future.
Board members have any questions?
And
No,
Bill,
we made a lot of comments on this before. So how much of it has been complied with and how much is not?
From an engineering perspective, we do feel the applicant has addressed most of our concerns. I'll let Rich speak to the planning aspect.
from my perspective, the addressing the final plat submission requirements, that one could read the code and read the submission requirements, and those are things that probably should be submitted. And the issues that were raised in the pre-app, I would say that the easy ones were addressed and the other ones probably still need some additional work. The one thing that I missed as I was going through my report rather quickly, because I assume that the applicant is going to get copies of this and then they'll come back and address it, is that the access for the northern lot is going to be using the driveway on the southern lot. The driveway on the southern lot is on the flag strip owned by the southern lot. And I think that the village attorney should take a look at that to advise whether or not there should be some sort of driveway or utility easement that's established over that. And if so, if and when should that be submitted to the village for review, in as much as they're not going to be taking access through their own frontage. They're going to be taking their access through the secondary lot. I know these lots appear to be paired together from ownership and use point of view. I'm presuming that's what it sounds like from the applications that the application we've been talking about. But even so, there probably should be some sort of easement that allows access across that.
Yes, I agree. And I just might add two more points for when the applicant makes the resubmission. You know, Mr. Warren referenced the sanitary flag to be abandoned at the one-story storage building. That one-story storage building and the shed are located within the flag wetland setbacks. So we probably want to figure out or disclosure as to what those two structures, if they're going to continue, what they are and what that use is. And then with regard to the tennis courts that were converted, we're going to want to know what the disposition of those tennis courts are. Are they going to be removed? That would obviate the change. But if they were converted to pickleball courts, the village code is very specific with regard to those conversions. So if it's going to be removed in total, it's a moot issue. But if that was the case, it would just have to be marked on the map.
Any questions from the applicant?
Hi, John Tarbett for the applicant. No, thank you very much for the detailed comments, and it's obviously a grocery list of things we still need to take care of, so we'll get working on those.
Great, okay. There's nothing else. I'll make a motion to adjourn this until the August 20th meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. We're done with the consultants, I think.
We are.
Thank you very much for coming, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Pleasure. Have a nice day. So long.
Next up, May 21st, 2025 minutes. I did read them, really corrected a couple of things I saw. Practically perfect. Everybody else have a chance to look at them? Any problems? Okay, make a motion to approve the minutes for May 21st. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What about the end of the fiscal year? You doing that? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
sorry. Okay.
And then May 30th and end of fiscal year meeting minutes. I think you'll find to me any changes. Everybody good with it? Make a motion to accept. I'll second. All in favor? Okay. Something at the town police report, I don't think has showed up yet, so, right, okay. So next is, and we'll move public comment up to this point in the meeting, actually, Sag Main Street parking and the general store, which has been a fantastic success in terms of the business, but has become a danger and kind of a burden on the neighbors and the whole community. It makes it hard. I know we have a lot of people going to the beach this time of year and they tend to use that route. So it compounds the traffic on Main Street, and with the parking as it is at the moment, it makes everything difficult and dangerous. The owners of the store, I think, are agreeable to anything that will help improve the situation. I'm personally amazed at how much business they have, but I guess that's a modern era. In terms of adjustments over time, the store has done a bunch of changes. I think my father was upset when they put gas pumps in a century ago. And I was upset when they took them out maybe 50 years ago. And now the latest iteration with the traffic and the population we have has made it just unsafe and very difficult. Anybody from the board want to chime in on this matter?
you know, with great success comes a lot of challenges. And I think we've made some initial moves already, and we need to make some more probably.
Yeah, we've asked the police to make recommendations, and supposedly they're working on it. We have a specialist in parking and traffic who's going to give us a report on it. And we have a lot of great suggestions from the public. Some of them great, some of them contradictory. And at some point, we hope that the experts will give us some guidance on which way to go with it. I don't particularly want to just try things. I mean, we did initially block parking. People were parking on lawns all the way down the road. Of course, you have to have enforcement of that, which is another issue. In terms of the actual parking by the store, I mean, I am terribly nervous to go there and try to get out of the place. I park behind it, and for a pickup truck, it's not particularly easy to go back there, but it's manageable. They did have a young woman back there directing me, which was nice. Parking on the street, I really fear for people. People don't often use the crosswalk, and well, anybody who's been through there knows that it's not safe as it is now. Board members, anything you want to chime in on?
I agree, not safe.
Well, obviously, it's not safe. I think whether, you know, two Range Rovers are hitting each other, you know, back to back,
Right.
just people walking, it's not safe. I will say they have done a beautiful job. I
Yes.
think we should all be proud of what they have done. You know, considering some of the things that we had seen in the iterations of it as, you know, numbers of years since certainly the 30 years I've been here. But with change, things change. And I think that, you know, this is somewhat of a growing pain that we're going to have to look at. You know, certainly I spent a decent amount of time talking with you know, people on, when I worked with the EMT about it, and we're gonna have to change things so that it isn't a danger, there's potential of people, you know, parking on lawns and doing and disrupting that, and as you said, making sure there's a thoroughfare that people can actually.
Have there been any ambulance calls there?
No, not yet.
Wow.
There will.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Anybody else want to chime in? Yeah, right.
No, I think it's just, it's something new. I think the volume of cars that are in and out of there is something that no one ever expected. But it was the same last year with the people going to the beach and such over the past several years. It's just gonna be a matter of people learning patience, slowing down and enjoying the beautiful village that we have.
Is there a 30-minute parking there? Yes. Can we get rid of that and make it shorter? Or
Well, it's a matter of
maybe that wouldn't
enforcement.
help?
I think there's several things that.
You gotta stand in line 30 minutes just to get into the store.
Right. And I think I was, what Bill said, that we now have professionals looking over it. And the public, you know, some of the letters are very, very.
Yeah.
You know, it's supposed to take all that information and come up with that solution for us.
If I may, I did hear back from Sergeant Bowes of the Southampton Town Police Department, and he said that he has TCOs checking on the general store, reporting back to him, and conducting enforcement of the issues with the parking when necessary. Going forward, he's going to add the Sagaponic General Store to the East End Beach Cars route Friday through Monday, meaning that they will go and check to make sure that they'll mark the tires and see how long they've been there. Then he's got it between the two different TCOs. So they'll be monitoring that every day except for Tuesday when the store is closed. And then they'll have one of the TCOs assist with the crosswalk on Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And of course, the Charlie 48 car will also monitor the conditions down there, and they'll adjust accordingly. So that's how they're going to start. Didn't talk to them today, so I don't know if that's something they started today. Hopefully they did. They might want to add Friday. Well, they have it Friday. Oh, you mean for the TCO there, and they might want to add Sunday. You're absolutely correct.
You said
but-
Saturday, Sunday.
I said
10 to 1.
Saturday. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
But they are, this is from him. This is from Sergeant Bones, Lieutenant Schottenhamel, and Chief Kiernan.
Yeah, it's probably not really adequate at all, that amount of service, but I think the police department's been understaffed for probably 30 years. Police are very expensive. Open it up to the floor. You guys done? Would anybody want to address, well, Steve, come on, go up to the podium.
Hi, I'm Steve Miller, resident of Sagaponic and Narrow Lane. I wrote 2 letters. I did get responses, which I really appreciate. And the 2 suggestions, one that I made and one I haven't talked about yet, but first one, which is new, is it possible to get the employees to park off-site? I mean, that puts a burden on the store, but to me, there's a lot of employees in the store and that would free up. We'd have to ask, I believe Gabby, right? You know, what the possibility, how many employees are there at one time? It could be as many as 10, I don't know. So that would be one suggestion. And then the other suggestion I made, and I got a response, it depends on, attorneys approving the idea, but perhaps there's a way to have a limited permit parking for box holders, because as everyone knows, it's really tough to find a parking space when you want to go to the post office. So could you designate box holders to have, I don't think it needs to be more than 10-minute, 10-minute parking. The trailer, I noticed, rarely saw more than 4 or 5 cars at one time, at the other location. So maybe that 5, something like that would be more than adequate. It could be short term. And of course, the other problem, which we talked about just right now, is enforcement. So if you do something like that, I'm sure a lot of people are not going to respect a sign that says permit parking only. So, would that be possible to have some kind of enforcement? If there is enforcement and the police are only there from 10 to, I can't remember what you said, 2 or something like that, clearly that's not adequate. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bill.
Henry, you want?
Yeah. So I'm Henry Westberg. I live at 521 Sag Lane. So Amy Sullivan lives right across from the store. I'm just north of Amy's.
You're in the blast zone. So
I'm in the center of the blast zone, but I'm very close to the blast zone. Of course, the store is a wonderful contribution to the neighborhood. The reconstruction, I think, was fabulous. The store itself is great, thanks to Gabby, who's here. And it's great to have the post office back. Notwithstanding that, as everybody recognizes, the traffic is beyond out of control. And I have sort of 4 suggestions. One, you've already taken care of, which is the no parking north of the store. But that requires enforcement, as you've also recognized. On a Saturday at 11, you can look up the street north for me, and there are usually 3 or 4 people parked there. I have commented to people when I go by on my bike or whatever, and most people say, oh, I didn't know there was no parking. And a couple of people say, screw you, I'm only gonna be 10 minutes and I'm not moving.
We're in New York.
Yes, so that's one thing. I think, and I believe this is a separate code infraction. I think there needs to be no U-turn signs and no U-turn enforcement, because U-turns are actually
extremely dangerous. I was out, I put posts up in front of my house. The village engineer asked me to remove them. I removed them. I was removing them today, in fact. And in the 10 minutes it took me to remove them, in addition to an altercation in the crosswalk between two pedestrians and a car, there were two U-turns, both of which I would not have made and would consider to be unsafe in terms of oncoming traffic. So I think U-turns need to be verboten on the whole strip from Hedges to Sagaponic Road. And that needs to be enforced by the police as well. And signage for that, etc. That's going to create other problems. People are going to come into our driveways. People are already coming into our driveways. I don't know if that constitutes a U-turn when they come into our driveways, but in any event, we should eliminate U-turns to the maximum extent. The next and most important issue, of course, is parking. I think, and I understand that other speakers are going to address this, the number of on-street parking spots should be substantially reduced. The store obviously built a very nice parking lot, and those spots should be subtracted, or some proportion of those spots should be subtracted from the on-street parking. And you'll hear more about that. Next suggestion on parking is it should be converted to 45-degree angle parking, a la Sag Harbor. Sag Harbor Main Street, of course, is much wider, but Sag Harbor Main Street, considering the volume that you get there, actually works quite well. It's much speedier to exit a 45-degree spot, and it doesn't send you into the other lane to the same extent. And that's the real problem, is you just have too many cars going through that street too slowly. The street was never built for this volume of traffic. And I do think the 45-degree angle parking will reduce that. And then, of course, and I understand the store itself proposed this, and they may have had some trouble with the police, whatever, but the store having their own person out to facilitate movement of traffic is also something that we should endorse. And then the final sort of different point and our personal issue is garbage collection. The garbage collections is around 6 a.m. and it wakes us up. And I've already talked to the store about this, and I know they're looking into it, but I just want to make a note that and we never had this before with prior ownership of the store. Extremely loud, backing up of a garbage truck, extremely loud dumping of a huge canister into the truck very early. And I don't want to be saccharine or too romantic, but we're used to being waken up by birds. Now we're waking up by the garbage truck. Thank you.
Is that once a week? Or
no, it's 6 days.
Yeah. And there's every garbage on the other side of the building, which probably helped. Way back in history, the garbage pickup was behind on the other side.
Yeah, you mean on the south side, yeah. I just know we never heard this before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also think the canister use is probably much larger than, because they're doing much more business than anybody ever. Thank you.
Yeah. Somebody else next?
I'd like to agree with everything he had to say.
Yeah.
And I
identify yourself?
James Thrasher, and my husband John, and I live directly across the street from this property. We're on the corner of Hedges and Sagaponic Street. We've had a lot. We have that right of way of the village. We've manicured that. Our property actually goes out into the intersection there because of the way it's laid out, where we have the 50-foot setback from each side. So we actually have property on the grass in addition to the town's right of way. And so that's been disrespected from the day that the store opened en masse. And so I put a little sign out there on the sign that did, I think, alleviate a lot of that. People were courteous and left that alone. But the people that parked on it, took it as their absolute right. One person said to me, "You don't own that property, and that's the village property." but I do maintain that, and you want me to maintain that because you want it to look nice. And so we are, that's been our issue, is why we didn't have signage on the property to prevent people from doing it. So we finally, 3 weeks ago, we put some markers, bought a bunch of those little markers and put those up along there. And so that's pretty much stopped the parking, but they still, come into that. So before the general store was open, we had construction for 3 years. They were, they had a person on site that would clean up, and they were pretty good about not parking their trucks. They did ruin the sprinkler system in a couple of places because they had long trucks backed over the wood curb and got into that. But I just think it's something that there's a lack of respect by the patrons of the store for our village and our personal property. And I think we have to address that as a legal entity of the village. And I just think that's the presence that needs to be made. So,
let me just,
sure.
I found the owners to be very responsive, and they're really interested. I mean, they bought the store because they wanted it to not turn into a real estate office or something else.
Sure.
So it's more the customers, and the owner is very willing to work with us any way that they can. I just want to make sure that you understand.
No, I feel that way too.
Right.
And I think we appreciate what they've done. We appreciate, because sitting there across the street from a sort of unused building for a number of years wasn't that much fun either. And so, but I think they did a good job with managing their construction, but we don't have the same management of the property now that they have the store open as we did during the construction. So I think we've all been slow in getting signage up, and they've been slow. So now they have a whole bunch of no parking signs in their large driveway that goes by the store. That discourages people that are driving by and see all those no parking signs to actually turning in there. So you got one sign that says parking behind, and you got 6 or 8 signs that say no parking that you can see all up and down the street. So I think that's a signage issue that just needs to be addressed with the owners. And I understand why they have that no parking there, because that's the parking that they have for delivery to the post office and delivery probably of their merchandise. The other thing that I think that the owners could control is where they get their deliveries. So numerous times there've been very large, very noisy trucks that have back ends, released. I heard this horrible noise, and I thought, it sounds like a land, an earth mover operating. It was literally the guy lowering his back of his truck so he could get things in and out of the truck. But I just think that we should prohibit any loading of merchandise for the store or the post office from the public street, because that also blocks the parallel parking and it blocks the street for people going through there. So that would take another slice of this traffic problem out of it. And what's interesting is that also, in addition to happening very early in the morning, that happens in the middle of the day. So I'm sure it's hard to get deliveries, but you have a great big truck that pulls up there and takes 3 parking places and occupies the lane of the street. That's not good. And I've watched that happen numerous times. So I don't think that's being addressed as properly as it should be. So finally, I'd just like to say that I put this some note this morning that I think if you look at what's happening in Sag Harbor, they've got a very, very similar situation. Now that's a village with lots of stores, but they've got lots of cars, and they have young people who have uniforms and have training. And they will not let you stop to wait for a car to back out because they want to keep that traffic moving. And so I think they're doing a good job. I don't know why we can't duplicate that here. And I don't think the village should have to pay for that. I think if you have a business and you're creating that kind of traffic, then you should pay for the service. It's not unlike if you have an event at your house and you have to have a valet. And so, we need somebody to actually manage that traffic. And as someone said a few minutes ago, this is not a noon, 11:30 to 2:30, 11:30 to 1 situation. their biggest traffic jams, are just right after lunch, that people are using that space and parking and leaving there on a more like a 5 or 6 hour basis versus a 1 or 2 hour basis. And it's all very easy to monitor and understand. So my recommendation would be that duplicate of the Sag Harbor system be considered at the owner of the store's expense. Because,
Okay,
yeah.
unless you have something else, let's let everybody else.
Yeah, okay.
That's something we've been looking at.
Okay.
You want to come up?
Summer Lock Pattern, I live at 509 Sag Main, not the epicenter, but 2 houses north of the epicenter. And I actually, along the lines of what Jim just mentioned, the delivery trucks that come multiple times a day. I have an idea to offer for that. It's not my own. I wish I could take credit for it. It belongs to Lauren Thayer of Thayer's Hardware. She said the way they handle multiple deliveries is they have an off-site warehouse. Actually, in their case, multiple off-site warehouses. And they have one delivery truck that does the collection from these off-site warehouses and delivers the necessary goods once a day. So that instead of having multiple trucks multiple times a day, making noise, dropping their gates, pulling up, backing out, the beep, beep, beeping going off, just one delivery truck. And I thought that was genius, so I wanted to share it with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Someone else?
Hi, I'm Amy Sullivan. I live directly across from the store.
Yeah.
Smack of this. I think there's a great deal to be said in favor of the store and a great deal to be said about the situation we're in now, particularly I would personally like to see all street parking gone. I think there's enormous space back there, and I don't think it's fair to the community to have this main road. Even if I didn't live there, I wouldn't think it was fair, but living there, it's completely unfair. Also, if that were not done, there are 2 spaces just south of my driveway. And then following the 3rd space, there is a tree that's planted there and has roots that go out. So any car that parks there is jutting out into the road. That not only makes it hard for anyone heading north, but it makes it impossible for me to get out of my driveway safely. Impossible. There's no visibility. I sent Rhodey a picture so she could share it, I'm sure. And everyone's got, an SUV. It's not like people are driving small sports cars. There's no way to get out of my driveway safely. None. The highway department also put up a sign on my corner of my driveway that is completely giving misinformation, but Rhodey has already taken care of that, asked the highway department to move it, and they said they won't. But I can't get out of my driveway. And it's created a really bad situation. And I don't think it's the store's fault. I don't think the store meant for this to happen. I don't think they could have imagined it would happen. But it has. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Someone else?
Hello, board. Board of Trustees, you're not board. I'm Summer's husband, Joe Lockhart. I also live at 509 Sag Main Street, and I also remember the fuel pumps at the store. I'm not an expert, but I'm retired, so I have a lot of time on my hands other than doing EMS with more. I've looked at the situation at the store a bit, and I have some ideas. They're not as drastic as Amy's, but I think it's a fair compromise. And just want to give you guys some handouts. I'll be very quick. Okay. So the no U-turns have been a lot of great ideas. No U-turns, diagonal parking, better enforcement, yada, yada, yada. And all of that is great, but as Henry and Amy pointed out, the problem is capacity. There's just too many cars trying to get in and out of there. You can diagonally park stuff, but they're trying to back up into each other. Cyclists and joggers going through there are taking their lives into their own hands. And there's currently no way for a pedestrian to go north to south there and stay on a sidewalk. You have to weave in and out of traffic when you're south of the store. So I think the only solution is to reduce some of the parking on Main Street. So my idea is this. Remove all but the handicap parking on the west side of the street. And then re-landscape to reduce the road apron to the north and south of the store to offer drivers a visual clue that there's no parking on that side other than the handicap spots. You improve the signage so that the bulk of the traffic going to that store, which comes from the north, Montauk Highway, Sag Road, is forced to make a right-hand turn into their parking lot and just make it visible. You can put a safety cone in the middle of the road with a parking sign. Then you make it right turn only for vehicles coming out of that lot. So they're merging with traffic, they're not making it legal if you're turning going north. Now that you don't have parking on the west side of the street, you can now extend that sidewalk south so that pedestrians and kids with bikes can actually get through the store without fear of getting hurt. You remove the 3 or 4 spots closest to Amy's driveway, and as she said, there's a little bump out created there anyway by that tree. It's a natural way to do it. And you diagonally stripe all the spots that are left on the east side of the street. I didn't measure it, but it's more or less right. There are about 6 to 7 spots north of the crosswalk towards Amy's house that you could make 10-minute parking for PO customers. I talked to Karen, she said we've never ever had more than 6 PO patrons at any one time at the store. And then the 7 or 8 spots that are available on the east side of the street, south of the crosswalk, could be 30 minutes, so that people coming from the south can just pull in there and park. The benefits of that is that it forces the cars heading south into the parking area. And because the roadside parking is so much more convenient, people are always going to choose to park on the road. And I've been there on the busiest weekends, and there are always a few spots left in that back parking lot. But if you can park on the road, why wouldn't you? This would prevent that. By removing the parking on the east side of Sag Main, cars leaving the lot turning right no longer have a blind spot created by the cars that currently park parallel on the north side of that street. So when you're sort of nosing out there, you can't see where you're going because you've got the parallel parked cars. By restricting the egress from the lot south to a southbound direction, you'll greatly limit the disruption caused by cars that now make that illegal U-turn to head north. And because virtually all of the parking will be eliminated on one side of the street, it'll greatly reduce the danger of pedestrians crossing the street and drivers entering and exiting the remaining spots on the east side of Sag Main. Also, with most of the parking eliminated on the west side of the streets, it makes it much safer for joggers and cyclists to travel north to south. And then obviously cars backing out of the spots on the east don't run any risk of hitting anybody on the west, and cars heading south now can sort of avoid them by jogging over a little bit. So this would reduce by doing that, you reduce the SAG store parking to about 47 spaces. They have about 33 in the back lot, depending on where they allow people to park there. And that will leave you 14 on the road. That's less than they currently have, but it's still a 50% increase over the total number of parking spaces that have ever existed there. I didn't know if this was a big number or a small number, so as a point of comparison, I looked at the other 2 big food stores that service our areas. There's Citarella's and there's Kromer's. And I counted the parking spaces. Kromer's has 45 spaces, and that serves a market. I don't know the square footage of the store, but I think it's a bit larger than the SAG store, plus 2 other commercial uses. And of those 45 spaces, only 17 are on the road. And as those of you who know live here, the town and the state spent millions of dollars reconfiguring that road because guess what? Cars that park on the road are dangerous. So Cromer's has 45, Cinderella's has 73, of which again, only 9 are on Montauk Highway for similar reasons. It's dangerous to pull out onto a major road. So you have 45 on the low end, 73 on the high end. The Sagaponic store currently has 64 parking spaces. Think about that for a second. That's almost as much as Cinderella's. And this is a store, pre-existing non-conforming use, the heart of a residential village on a road that's already overused as a bypass to Montauk Highway. So it may sound pathetic, but you know, I've lived within 100 yards of the store for over 50 years. And I've witnessed every iteration of that building, from when Mary ran it to Spellman's, yada, yada, yada. And 30 spots has always been enough, almost by a factor of 2. So it seems to me that if you give the store 47 spaces, that's more than generous. And you know, and if they have an issue with employee parking, take that, that's for them to deal with. They want more spots for customers, and find offsite parking for their employees. I don't think that's something you micromanage. Let them deal with it. But the more spots the employees have, the fewer the customers will have. And that's just an equation they're gonna have to solve themselves. Like most residents here and members of the board, I was thrilled when Mindy took on this project and rehabilitated the store and the post office at great expense. And I applaud her for it, but the new store, unfortunately, is a victim of its own success and positive PR. And because we live in a new age of social media, it's gone from an accessible general store where locals felt welcome to a regional destination for pretty much anyone visiting the Hamptons with an iPhone and an Instagram account. And I think you solve the capacity issue, you solve all the other problems. It's my 2 cents worth.
Okay. Thanks for the work, Joe.
Yeah.
Someone else to speak? Okay, we're gonna move on with the agenda. Thank you very much. I appreciate the input. It's helpful, believe it or not.
You don't want to stay for the rest of the agenda? Oh, God. Come on, the press is gone. Lee, thank you for staying. Thank you, Gabby.
Oh, well, okay. I guess we're doing assembly permits now?
Business. Yeah, new business. So on August 9th, a Saturday, Dario Sakai wants to have a party on 291 Parsonage Lane from 6 to 12. It's a dinner party, a family party. And yeah, 200 people. And a number of people involved totaling 212. And expected vehicles 70. The Valley Company's East End Investigation and Security with security as well. Sen Restaurant is the caterer, and the Winter Brothers are the leaders. There will be a DJ and lighting. The parking will be around cars. Where there's, you know, a field or whatever. Yeah, they do this each year, this particular.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
But not too much.
Yeah, no, they have a lot, I would say at least 5 years,
Yeah,
if not more, because since they bought it. Yeah. So are there any discussion?
Good.
Yeah.
Good food.
Make a motion that we accept this assembly permit. All in favor?
Aye.
Then there's a summer benefit, the organization will remain the Center for Jewish Life, I forgot number 2. Oh, did I put that thing wrong? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Fundraising for Center for Jewish Life on New York, / Sag Harbor. At 2 Holden Court on August 10th, which is a Sunday. And it's from 5 to 9. It's commercial. The benefactor is the Center for Jewish Life, Sag Harbor. They are having tents, and there's 125 to 150 people, 15 working it, so approximately 105 people. It's dinner and reception. The number of vehicles are 50 to 75. The valet company is People Pool. And the security is Community Security Initiative. They will designate a company. The name of the caterers are Ben Spencer Cohen. Entrepreneur. What's that say? Enter. Caterers, geez. Removed by the caterer on the refuse. Portable bathrooms, 1 8-foot trailer unit, out by Outback toilets. They say they're having sound, music, lighting, and a tent, but no information. Oh, the tent is. No, there's no information on that, but the sign is the open air tent. Maybe they have that mixed up. Does that say 70 by 40 open air tent, or does it say 10 by 40 open air tent? I don't know.
Looks like a 7 to me. Either way, they gotta get a 10.
Okay. 2 Holden Court is off of Erica's, and they will probably park somewhere close on Erica's. Any questions or comments? Okay, I motion that we accept this permit.
Is that subject to the 10 permit, right?
Well, it's not subject to, they have to pull a separate permit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we accept this permit.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so there's a summer party on August 9th, that's a Friday. From 7 to 12 at 511 Daniels. It is STEM Partners LLC. There's 125 people, 25 working it, 150 altogether, cocktails and dinner. The number of vehicles is 75. There's the valet company is Roman Sanford, and the security is Roman Sanford. We'll have a DJ, temporary string lights, and a portable generator. It's 15 acres, so they're going to be parking on the property. Any questions on that?
I'm sorry, that's off Hedges, is that? Where's that over
Daniels.
there? Daniels, okay.
511.
511 Daniels.
Okay.
So if we no questions, I make a motion that we accept this permit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think, is that it? Oh, no, that was one. I
Oh,
don't
no,
know.
I'm sorry, just 3.
Yeah, I don't know, sorry.
Nope, that's all you have.
I make a resolution to set a public hearing August 20th of 2025, 3 p.m. Village Hall for local law number 1 of 2025 entitled the local law amendment Village Code 25-33B 2B regarding the exception of the GFA calculation for certain roof porches in the front yard. This is something that's been kicking around for a couple of years.
What's the suggestion?
This is the AHRB. A lot of houses are built without porches because people want the extra room for a bedroom somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna give them like 140 square feet of porch, which doesn't subtract from the house.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's an inducement. You can have a nice looking porch because they make places look better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's not a huge porch, so if they want a huge porch, they're gonna have to lose a little house for it. But it's enough so it's a good decoration and it's big enough to be used.
I will second that.
Yeah, I'm in favor of the part.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, composting. I don't think you had a chance to read it, but in the Beacon, they had an article about in Calverton, the old part of the old water tree farm, kind of up there in the land. So he was taking photo and he started a potato chip company for a while. 40 Warner. Warner potato chip.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his son and daughter he started a tree farm and then they took it over and had a garden center. And I guess a lot of the land has been sold off over history. And part of it somebody bought as a tree farm, and the neighbors are complaining the tractor trailers are going in and dumping there. And that the composting is stinking up the whole neighborhood. And I thought we'd revisit prohibiting large scale composting like that in Sagaponic. It ain't happened here yet, but
It's coming.
somebody could do it. Instead of driving up there, they'll just dump it here in Sagaponic. I mean, there is the tree farm just across the border where they're composting right now.
Mark, do we follow up with that guy? That guy was complete flake. I probably tried 15 times. Supposedly he was sick and then not sick, and literally 15 times, calling him, emailing.
Which guy is this?
Oh, he retired. I think there's a health problem. He retired.
The owner of the tree farm?
No, Farm Bureau.
Oh.
But
He said he would work with us,
Yeah.
but I don't think there was much momentum there.
no, but what he was proposing was that a certain section of a property could compost if they want, if it was, but it was not big enough for mass.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see. Huh.
So it wouldn't be for, just the entire property, it would be for that, but there would be composting opportunity
Right.
for that sort of thing. I agree with you. I think it's something that, whether it be just what will happen, but this was a fire. There was a giant, you have no idea, if they're gonna compost, that sounds great, but what are they dumping into that sort of thing?
Yeah, into the water
So-
table too. So, yeah, look, we talked about this. I'm all in favor of trying to
Yeah.
get something done here. We had the farmers in here, if you remember, they came in
Right.
here and they they were somewhat opposed. There could have been something they were willing to come up with some sort of wording that would protect them for what
They
their
were-
little things they're
Excuse me,
doing.
I'm sorry, I seem to have left my phone here.
Oh,
My watch told me I left my phone.
Is it on the podium?
I don't think so. No.
Bathroom?
No. I'm sorry, yeah, if you're raised section.
I mean, I would like to try to proceed on this. I agree.
Yeah.
I think this is an issue of it, especially with.
lack of understanding
They,
from the
but
general.
when we explained to them what we were trying to prevent, they were willing to do it.
yeah, I've talked to Folsom and the Ludlows both outside this room, and they just have this fear that somehow it's gonna prevent them from doing common agricultural practice, and I've told them, it's not what it's aimed at.
Right.
And they were just afraid under a different administration, maybe somebody would. I don't see where that's a problem.
So something we could do legally.
Yeah, we could draft up that's, and then.
But you did draft something.
We've got something sitting there.
Right, we've had this local law proposal last year, they had it, they debated it, reviewed it, analyzed it, came down and spoke about it. We had no comments back. And it was, we asked for the comments and there were no edits, but really what the issue is we don't, the position we took with the Farm Bureau was that we're not trying to interfere with the actual farm operation itself that's there.
Right.
It's the importing from other sites is the problem. As Mark said, sometimes even these, they self-ignite on compost
Oh, yeah.
facilities. You ever try to turn over your compost in your backyard and you wonder why it's steaming?
Right.
It's because it's, it's composting, it's a natural product, but the issue is the importation from off-site. So the village, to prevent that concern about abuse by a future administration, it was drafted specifically to say it's allows on-site composting from on-site farm
Their own farm.
operations,
It
correct?
says that in there.
Yes.
I don't get where they're gonna put it.
Well, I think it's aimed at the people who aren't really farming, but are have the field and ability and are importing from other sites, off-site compost material.
That it's another revenue.
Dump.
Oh,
So like you could go and just dump crap. If you want.
where am I jumping it?
Not you.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
you know.
But it's another revenue source of property.
You said that.
It did.
This.
Oh, yes.
Optionality.
Oh, yeah, crystal
So
clear.
someone could say from
And it says no
towners,
third
come on
party
down
or
and dump on my property.
Right.
Okay,
And they
I got
charge
it.
them.
You go to-
Yeah, I got that.
It's
I
a
just
proper
was like, who would do that?
You got a clean field.
It's like,
You have- No, that's all I put.
At some point, they want to make a.
Totally misunderstood there.
They totally misunderstood.
Yeah.
They
Right.
misunderstood your point.
So the whole thing is, well, when we try to, because I taught, we've talked to a couple of farmers as you have, and they're fine with what we're trying to corral here, which is third-party people who want to make money, dumping stuff on open fields, not preventing normal farm operations.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I think
Maybe
we
the
make,
next meeting, maybe I'll give an introduction to the local law, as we kind of did in previous iterations.
Right.
And I'll explain what some of the details are. And hopefully the people in the audience who come to attend and object will hear it and
well,
understand.
exactly
Right.
this.
We have to have an open,
Public hearing.
another public.
Sure.
So why
Yeah.
wouldn't we just, rather than you talking about it and then have a public hearing and then, why wouldn't we just have a public hearing
Yeah.
again?
Right.
To
We have to
reiterate
get
it.
right, we have to get the draft, local law, which there, it's in
Done.
place, I mean, it's
Yep.
done, I
So
don't
the
know if
next
it needs to
meeting,
be
we'll have a
tweaked.
draft and we'll set a
Yeah.
public hearing.
That is great.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
That's great.
All right. That's why I brought it up. I mean, this was, I kind of,
Can I
What
see
we
that when you're done?
oh yeah, I think.
You have it in here.
It's in the
I
packet,
sent it, it's a little, sorry, it's a little difficult to,
if we-
I had to.
I don't need that anymore. So
Yes.
you can-
Dumping is a very lucrative business now for third-party people to get rid of their stuff.
this is the
Correct.
beginning.
People want it dumping in our fields.
Absolutely.
But I did email. I mean,
You mean I can make?
I have
some?
it's cancel, I'm like.
Do I have enough property?
Before you're full of.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll slow down.
Oh.
Your property's going back.
All right, so that's good. Well, I think we can.
Who would want to- Let's pay some bills.
Okay.
Make a motion to expend from the general fund the amount of $81,575.89.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to expend from the trust and agency planning fund $4,171.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to expend from the capital highway fund $3,058.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And make a motion to expend from the trust and agency fund $2,500.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Let's see, comments from the floor? Oh, come on.
You wanna know, Thomas? I think the store is
Parking is a problem, I
You
get
have to
it.
go up here.
Parking is a problem, but it's the shiny new toy, it'll calm down with time.
Did today.
The guy from West Hampton wanted to see it, just tell me, see it, he won't come every day. You know what I mean?
Right.
I have a question. The 351 thing with the 4 paddle pickleballs.
Yeah,
Is that allowed? Do we allow that? 3 pickleball things?
you have to get a permit, you can do it, but then you have to put up some noise,
okay.
it has to.
Any pickleball court, even on a tennis court, which is what they're doing now, has to have a permit.
Yeah,
It's the noise.
but 3 of them?
Oh, yeah. pickleball.
That's a lot of noise.
The tournament.
Yeah,
The private tournament.
The private
Right.
tournament.
Okay.
It's a big enough piece of property,
you weren't invited?
and you won't hear that in that problem.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter, like having 3 things, the 3 pickleball, which we don't need. If it's a private property.
Okay. Okay, motion to adjourn the meeting,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wow, that went pretty well.
Can we just revisit off the record, the